Yeah, natural selection. I would give it a
But
pass.
welcome to the Insiders Transcontinental episode here. Matthew Hayes. I'm currently embracing Cyclone Alfred on the north side of Brisbane. How are you?
Yeah, good. I think we might even be like semi-time traveling in this episode because of where we are together. But yeah, I'm good. Surf's been good here, and tomorrow I fly to Indo, so I'll be a lot closer to you.
Oh, you little ripper.
Yeah, how's Dan Under treating you?
Down under's treating me pretty good. It's pretty weird, to tell you the truth. Anyone who's listening to me who's got a girlfriend or a family would know the obstacles in a couple or family holiday when you turn up and it's a swell event. And for example, at the moment, I've turned up for a once in a 20-year swell event. And it just seemed like for that 8 days, which maybe today was the last day, you were saying every day, yeah, but this is a once in a lifetime sort of day. I'll see you in 6 hours. And it's kind of like, well, you said that yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess you saw the carnage on Instagram. I mean, I don't know. Is this the current surf world we live in, Matt? That it's unprecedented. This is a popular word at the moment here on the news. Media coverage of every single event. Like, I just got this feeling that it's a little bit overkill.
Yeah, I feel like um it's been quite a lot of places on Instagram. And it's not been like too much, but like I mean there is a lot to be fair about it. And I'm seeing a lot about like empty shelves in supermarkets and stuff like that. But I'll be completely honest, most of the footage I've seen of it is a bit, it gets boring really quickly. Um,
I got a feeling that, mate, the fact that I've been saturated by images is because I'm here, so I'm figuring that the algorithms understand where you
Probably.
are locally, and the people you follow, if they're all in one spot, you kind of
Yeah.
get.
I found it like it's cool, but like once you've seen Mick Fanning thread one and Joel thread one and a couple of other people thread them, and like there's not um there's not that much that differentiates the rides or anything like that. Plus knowing that there's step offs kind of weakens it a little bit most of the time when I'm seeing it. Like obviously it's still mad and still like highly skilled and
There, is that core or not core? There were 44 skis at
that's cool.
Kira Snapper the other day.
Kook or no
I
kook, that's
don't.
cool kook. But
Um,
it's kook, but it's core because it's I think it's core because I'm like I love the fact that like basically it looks like everyone has dropped their entire life to take advantage of this, which I think is core. But it's kook that it's like 44 skis in a lineup could be pretty hectic.
from all accounts, one of my friends that I spent a fair bit of time with last week, there's a lot of online bitching going on. I think there was a fair bit of chaos of skis snaking skis. So it's it's
Mental.
kind of like it's kind of like inside dropping in people. That's kind of what it's come for. You know, Mick Fanning's one of my heroes. He was out there on his brand new ski, and I mean, they grew up there. They're from there. I really was super disappointed that I didn't make it down to Kira, but I was having another chat to a friend of mine who I knew from like 30 years ago, and he came and visited us with a bunch of friends in Europe in 2001. He told me, and he was like him and his mates, because he was a little bit younger than me. He said that they were all going through the same sort of fear of missing out epidemic,
Yeah.
And they're like, realistically, none of these people, it's like when you watch different spots like Mundaka or whatever, realistically, you most probably wouldn't have got a wave anyway. There was
No.
44 jet skis plus probably 500 pros, and it's just overkill. Saying that, like Sunshine Coast had some incredibly diverse conditions and great spots. And there was this young kid. I'm trying to get him. I contacted him. You maybe saw that on the Instagram on our Instagram page. He paddled out at this secret spot in front of a headland by himself and took off on an 8.6 on a 15-foot wave closeout by himself in his board shorts. And then he went and paddled out at this river mouth where there was a few my mates there towing by himself, like hardcore, as core as you can get.
Yeah, that's real cool. Like, and I mean that's a lot better than going to Kira and just not getting a wave, or any wave you get has like 20 other people on it. So yeah, fair play to him. Let's hope we can get him on as well. That would be pretty cool. I I wanted to go back a little bit just to because we hadn't. I mean, I think it was the weekend you left. Did you manage to catch much of the natural selection stuff?
Ah, yes, I did. That's right. We wanted to talk about that. Um,
The reason I ask is because I thought it tied in a little bit with your question about have we been copping it a lot and everywhere. And it's funny how quickly like natural selection was built up and then it was dropped, and almost how quickly it's been replaced and forgotten by
yeah, I
just
was kind of
loads.
under. I'll be honest, I was kind of underwhelmed with it, but most probably just because of it was wind affected, and
Yeah.
as good as the surface they had, I think they were missing a little bit of star power.
Mm. I would say that I was slightly underwhelmed with the um in a way with the same thing as you on the wave count. I really enjoyed the surfers that were in it. I didn't mind not changing that. Um, but um, really there was a like makes like Aton Osborne had a very, very good wave, like an extremely good wave, like probably a 10 if you were putting it on a score. Um, and obviously there were some big waves packed and some heavy waves like taken off on. But I did expect like the fact knowing it was a packaged event and they had a quite a long time period and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I did expect the wave to be a bit less like wind affected and basically like if the WSL had run on that day, people probably would have been like kicking off online that like there was barely a makeable wave and it was all windy and stuff like that. So Um, but I did like the concept. I liked the way it was wrapped up, and I liked the way it was presented. Um, yeah, it goes
How
to
did
show
you
that. Yeah.
How did you go with the English commentator? Because you are English. I know my Aussie mates and a couple of people I spoke to were annoyed by him, but I think that's just because, in general, Aussies have a tendency to have a little bit of friction with the UK. I thought
Um,
he was really professional, maybe a little bit over froth, but what do you want from a commentator? You don't want someone to be dead either, do you?
yeah, I liked him. The only thing I didn't like was his awkward handshakes with Barton Lynch because like they would do that thing where like one would go to slap the hand and the other one would go to like shake the hand, and then they ended up like grabbing the back of it, and that was horrible. Like that on kept in the package was horrible. Um, but I did like it. I thought it was weird. Like, I don't know if you saw it, but like the judges couldn't see the end of the wave because of where they were. So like they were having to wait for replays and like kind of not judging the full wave, which was strange. Um,
I did see that, and honestly, from what I said at the start, what underwhelmed me was that the second day wasn't as good, and I don't, I'm not into the no scoring sort of business. I kind of understand that concept, but it just takes all. There's no point of reference for me across the heat. If there's no, it's
Yeah.
too easily forgotten for me. I think it's a great thing. I think if you did the same thing, natural selection, for example, let's say natural selection, no can doies, and you put Craig Anderson, Gabriel Medina, John, Jack Robinson. Now you're talking.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is I preferred the no scores because um what I loved is you didn't get the last 5 minutes someone going to paddle over someone and sit on top of them and stop them and block their waves. Like I hate that. What I loved is that what I really liked about it was that one wave could have won you the heat. Um, Potentially the best surfer of the heat could have won it if they just kept catching a lot of good waves. But then at the same time, there was kept in the back of their like the space. Like if someone gets an absolutely ridiculous wave and it's the only wave they get in an hour, that's going to win them the heat, which I liked because it meant that for the full hour, people were actually surfing and not sitting on top of people or worried about things like that. But I do think that they could have done something for the viewers where the judges, even if the judges just put like, right at the moment, this person's winning the heat, like doesn't even have to have a score, but like this person's like in the lead at the moment.
Maybe they could put a little box which said trending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think of another adjective, but you understand what I mean? Like trending winner. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
stuff's trending, stuff's pairing. Like when stocks starting to get a bit bearish and go up in price and stuff like that. You could
Yeah, I
put
mean, like
like,
current leader or like, yeah, like anything to. I do think that they could have done a little bit more with what was coming back from them um, to the viewer. But I thought it was a really good first execution. I hope they do more. I am really happy to see that Stab are bringing back Surf 100 because I think that's amazing.
yeah, I really like that too. I thought that was good.
And that's coming back this year. But yeah, natural selection. I would give it a
But
pass. Like I would give it a 6.5 out of 10 if we talk about scores.
I
Um,
was super impressed with Kira Pinkerton.
yeah, me too. And that Miller Coco Brown as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah.
Those
Obviously, and
two.
stop that. She's young, isn't she? A skater as well?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Is she primarily a skater or primarily a surfer? I can't remember.
I think it's become surf now.
And also, obviously, I was again incredibly impressed. Sorry to use that word twice by Harry Bryan. He just fucking rips, man. He's
Yeah,
just hardcore. He rips, and he can send it like Cowley Vast won the Olympics. We said that,
yeah.
and he couldn't get away with one of his feet. And Harry went out there and just went boom.
I was impressed by like I genuinely was impressed by all of the surfers. Even I think it showed a completely different side to Michael February, like, or not different side, but like that first day they were like big and horrible waves, and Mikey February was he snapped his board. He was packing like big waves. Like I know he's used to it,
Mikey
but
February is absolutely insane. The
yeah,
speed he can get in barrels, like he's a little bit undersung, like you said. He's a little bit undersung. It kind of reminds me a bit of Craig Anderson because they're style masters. You forget how fast they can go, and that's why
yeah,
they're just they've got that good enough style. It just shows, and I saw it like last weekend, over the last week. People with good styles and barrel technique. It's another full other story.
yeah, but
Joel Tudor as well, another person, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Really good barrel rider. So they haven't committed maybe as much time as getting scores on a wave, but the most important part of the wave they know how to use.
Yeah, and ultimately in most sports, um, good style and comes from good technique, which comes from like good foundations of knowing what you're doing. So it's not like, oh, he's got good style but can't surf. It's like they surf really well with good style because they've got those like foundations, like those foundation skills really to an elite level. But moving on, so that's obviously covered off natural selection. Since then, and since that cyclone, not much has really been going on.
I'm calling. I'm in a fantasy surfer group, and I haven't thought one bit about the WSL apart from the fact that I've still got players that need to pay their subscriptions, so I'm going to have to remind them again next week. But I didn't even see the time go past, and I think there's one due to. Is it starting next weekend?
I think it's next week. Yeah.
Next weekend,
Um,
and honestly, I'd like to do a review, blah blah blah. But look, I don't. I think we just do a post review because I think it's the worst comp of the year, and I'm not trying to write Benish off. I just think it's at a weird time of the year for
really,
them.
yeah.
It's so tide reliant,
Dependent. Yeah.
and it's. I mean, I live in a zone like that, where we've got waves like that, and it's just a crapshoot. It's a hard. I think it's the hardest event to pick. Uh,
I I I I
I
would
don't
say
know.
I agree and disagree. I think it has the biggest potential to be the worst event, and it has the potential to be one of the best. If you
It can
get
be mega exciting. It's true.
Yeah, if you get 5 days, like you can get 5 days in a row where it just goes like AM to PM, like Super Tubos, just like perfection, and you can get that, but you can also get the complete other end of the stick, and you're like fucked basically. I haven't looked at a forecast. I have no idea. I I actually picked my fantasy team this morning without looking at a forecast. Just was like, okay, these are the people I'm just going to pick. I'm not going to be looking at it while I'm away. I literally won't be picking up my phone.
There's no way you will, Matt. There's no way you will. I'm
No, not a
telling you, I've
chance.
been here for 2 weeks in a swell event, and you're going to be in warm water where you can surf. Shout out to the poor old cold surfers as well, like myself. You can sit in the water like I did this morning for 2 hours. And even when you're not getting a wave, you can be sitting there going, fuck, where's the wave? Where's the wave? But at least you're not shivering.
Yeah, honest. I surfed Wednesday and um Wednesday morning, like, and having to like put a wetsuit on, half on inside at home, and then get out to my van and out to de-ice my van. And I was just like, fuck this. Like, I was like, what is going on? And all I could think about was like, in 5 days' time, I'm going to be, my biggest worry is, have I got enough sun cream on?
Yeah, well, that's super important. That's the other thing. Going on a surf trip, you're you're 1 day out. Your board bag's packed.
Yep.
You've checked the forecast.
No.
Okay, yeah, this I understand because you don't want to put extra pressure on yourself. But when did you pack your board bag then? You're just committing to the boards you got.
Yeah, packed my board bag. I surfed the board. So two of them have been de-waxed for like 2 weeks. And then one of them was a slightly new board. So I was like, right, I'm going to surf that as much as I can in the next few weeks, which I've done. And then I de-waxed it after the surf Wednesday and packed Wednesday afternoon. Um, and I need to slightly juggle some stuff about, so I'm gonna unpack it today and repack it, but like just to um get a few bits in and take a few little bits that I think might be on
Have you
this.
got any epoxies in your board,
No.
in your bag? So, hey, I said to my mate today, I surfed a holy crypto 6'4". One of my friends that I've been staying at, he's got a board quiver of 20. Like
Hmm.
I literally, I spent 15 years in a surfboard factory, and I felt very insecure going into his house because he's got everything. Now he's mates with a guy from the distributor of Hayden Cox, Hayden Shapes. I just cannot and won't ever get my head around epoxies in good waves. Like today, for example, stiff offshore. The board went really good in the barrel. I was really lucky. I got a couple of barrels, super happy. But like so hard to surf with wind and everything when they're light like that. I also surfed his mid length, sorry, all Hayden lovers out there, but he's got a new
Glider,
wave mid or something.
mid glider.
And yeah, no, I don't know what it was, new wave mid or something. The fins are too
Ah,
clustered. It's super hard to find out what happened. As opposed to, I also, okay, we're on the board geek now. I also surfed the other, like 10 days ago, the Pizel mid, whatever that's called.
the mid length crisis.
Yeah, 7-8. It
Yeah,
went insane. Great.
yeah.
Felt a little bit flat, and it was PU. So there
But
you go. I just say PU all the way.
that that
Unless
that Paizo is
you're in a wave
basically,
pool.
well, yeah, that Paizo is basically a one bad egg.
There's nothing better as a mid length. I said to my friend, hey, oh, shout out to then the Slater. Is it man? Boss up.
The boss up, yeah,
Yeah, okay. One of my best mates, Mick McCall, 7-2 boss up. Now, he was late to the party on the mid lengths because he's a really good surfer, but he's a bigger guy, like muscle. And I'd been saying to him for a couple of years, I was like, I can't believe he's surfing like boards that short. And he's lost a bit of weight now. But he got one of them, 7-2, can't surf anything else. As a quad, he says he's even loving it in the beach break. And we surfed quality waves, Noosa, and he surfed Big Beach Break. Reckons it's one of the best boards he's ever surfed, and he had a friend shout out to him too that this was an insane board. So,
mm.
if you're thinking about the boss up, I've been
Yeah.
given a couple of 5-star ratings.
Nice. I yeah, I've seen the boss up in person, and I've actually felt a 6-6 and touched up a 6-6 and stuff, and
It's
um,
very refined. I'm telling you, the rails
yeah,
feel
it
sharp and
felt
everything.
to me though in the 6-6 with fins in, it felt too light. It felt tail heavy, but maybe different over a longer length. But
Yeah, this was a 7-2.
yeah, but I still, whenever I see a mid length like that, or like the Pizel, and the Pizel one, I also sold a lot of them and everything like that, and really, really good board actually. Um,
It went good, man. It went
really
great.
good. But I always just go back, I'm like, the one bad egg is the best. Like, for a mid length for good waves, that board is unbelievable.
If I had my old 6.9 back here as a quad, I would have been pretty happy. I'm telling you. That's the other thing, listeners. If you can, never go anywhere without one of your own good boards. Now, I've had boards back here because I've been coming back here for 25 years. But next year, if I come back, or the next time I come back, I'm bringing a couple of my own boards because there's nothing worse than surfing like incredible waves as well, and just always being on a different board, like rentals or whatever. Which is one of the reasons why I think that what was that thing a couple of years ago that Ace Bucken and all them were getting a Waco. I just don't
Yeah.
think. I just think you need your own boards. You need at least one of your own boards because surfing's hard enough. If you're not the best dude in the world, like it's hard enough as it is to get comfortable on a board than to try and surf different boards all the time, unless it's exactly the same board as what you got. And what's the chance of that happening on the other side
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
world?
people say, yeah, you could something like the Hyptos or the Hayden Coxes, you could do that with. If at home you have a 510 Hypto Crypto, you could buy one in Australia or you could find one to rent in Australia and it's going to be the same. Like if it's the Future Flex, if it's the Cobra made ones, um, then yeah, you can do that. But on boards like, say, for example, the Pizel or a One Bad Egg or Bradley's or Albums or whatever, they're not pop outs. They're not like
And
so.
chances are you're going to get there and get the one that's like so all well and good. If your favorite dimension is 6.5, and then someone says, "Yeah, here's a 7.2," it's not the same thing.
No, no, um, no, definitely not. Yeah, that's why like normally I like when I come to France. when I come for a week and I'm coming with Emily, I don't bring boards, but I know like I'm making that decision. Like, okay, yeah, like it might be that I don't surf as great as, but I'm not coming for a surf holiday or a surf trip. But then like when I came down for a longer time, or like when I'm going to Indo now, like I'm taking my own boards because I want to. The last thing I want to be doing is paddling out in a new country in new waves on a board I'm not used to.
The most important thing in the surfer's life is their boards. And like some of these friends of mine, like there's years where I didn't see them as much and everything. And sometimes I think I'm a bit freaky with surfboards, and I know you're a freak with surfboards, but I'm telling you, they're the same. First thing I'm doing when I'm going into their garage is looking at their boards, and everyone's packing boards because that's what's no one. I'm not going to someone's house and saying, "Hey, man, trust your new board shorts. Wow, have you got a new T-shirt? Oh, wow, how's that sick T-shirt you got? You know what I mean? Like, who gives a fuck what board shorts or your T-shirt as
Yeah,
long as you can put them on?
yeah. Even like, yeah, it definitely is. It's like,
Have you got a long sleeve neoprene vest?
yes,
Uh, there, I think, hands down, a point 0.5 to 2 mil long sleeve neoprene vest is one of the most important things that you can ever do traveling, even tropical, because you've got a reef,
yeah,
especially someone coming from cold water where you're used to having rubber under your chest. If you go straight into lycra or board shorts only, you're going to rip your guts to shreds.
yeah.
And even if it's a lycra, you're going to your bones and everything are all going to get too sore. So that's why the neoprene vest, it's one of the greatest things that there ever is.
Yeah, to be completely honest, I wouldn't have packed it. And then um, I was chatting to someone who'd been to where I'm going, and he was like, "Look, take a 1.5 mil neoprene vest."
There you go.
He said
He
like
knew.
the mornings aren't like they're not cold, but they're not like boiling. You won't be too hot in the morning, and it just
Even
helps.
if you're hot, it just means you're going to have something on. You need sun
Yeah,
protection.
yeah, exactly. And I don't usually run too hot. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, so I've got that. I think I've got everything. Um,
Okay,
hey,
I've got a kook or core.
yeah,
Unless you got something else to say,
no, we go with that first.
I've got a pretty good kook or core. You've ever stayed at friends' places?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're staying at friends' places and you're on holidays and they're working and stuff, and there's a load of clean washing in their living room or on their table. Kook or core, you fold it up for them.
Um, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I'll be honest. I reckon that's cool. Um, it's definitely not kook. And I
It's a
think,
hard one, man. I asked the missus about that, and she was there. Yeah, go for it, because I just wanted to help them out. But then I'm thinking, you're basically insinuating that they're not doing it.
in a way, yes, but like I think if it stops at the laundry bit and you just fold it up and leave it on the table, that's fine. If you started to like go
You
around,
can't go put it in their
yeah,
cupboards.
if you started to go around and like do the washing up for them, do that, sweep the floor, start like wiping
Dish,
out windows and stuff.
dishes. I think is the ultimate. When you're staying at someone's place, you should do every set of dishes
Yeah,
non-stop. No
yeah.
worries with the dishes. And if I'm got visitors and they're doing the dishes, I'm just thinking, you legend.
I
But
also
then,
think if you,
are you going to fold up your mate's girlfriend's undies?
I was, yeah, I think that's okay. I think if you're just like slightly tidying
Okay.
up the table to sit down, like because say you needed to use the table and you just swiped it to one side, that's probably worse than folding it. I do also think that if someone takes offense to that, then I think that's kooky because that tells me that they are conscious that they should have done it and just didn't, which then I think is not great. So I would say that's cool. I don't mind that one.
I think, like, if you want to come into a house where both of the people are working and you guys are on holidays, the more you can do, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Within
yeah,
reason, you can't go into their cupboards and start doing their tax files for them and stuff.
no. I agree. I also, so a couple of things I wanted to shout out more at the end of the poddy, so that's all good because we're nearly there. Um, good friend of the podcast, good friend of you, Mr. Kale Brock. Um,
Brocky,
he, yeah, he has launched Kale Brock Designs surfboards, and they have just now launched that they can ship internationally, and I think that's really cool. We're always a fan of Kale and what he does. Rips. Boards look good. They're made in a really good factory.
entrepreneur.
Yeah. Um, yeah, made in a really good factory, which pumps out, Lust and CI and loads of other boards as well. So they're high quality. So I just wanted to shout out like congrats for him to get that like off the ground and worldwide and stuff like that. That's really cool. And I wanted to quickly shout out. I don't reckon you've seen it, but you might have.
Oh, I've got one I wanted to shout out to you because you just mentioned that. Now, I wonder if it's the same thing. So,
So, have you seen Simple's cold water edit up in Scotland?
I know what's it called? I started watching it today on Nobody Surf. By the way, another shout out. Do you have Nobody Surf, the app?
I have. I just follow the Instagram page.
Okay, I've got the app and I hadn't looked at it for a while. And I was, when you're sitting around and we're about to have potentially an electricity. I'm telling you, we've got the biggest cyclone in 25 years. It's been pretty weird because, like, we've been sitting around for 3 days waiting for waiting for it to hit. It keeps not hitting. And
Yeah.
I've been doing. I'm staying in my mum's retirement village because she was a bit scared, and the family's at my sister's place. I've been, nicking off. Anyway, I got lost. So I was getting rid of apps off my phone, and I nearly watched it. Good.
It's called Chasing Unicorns.
That's it. Which is nearly. I
Yeah,
got mixed up. Wasn't there a thing with Geordie and them in Mozambique like that?
yeah, there is. It mixes two. There's one that's called like Chasing something else, and there's one that's called like like Unicorn. It is close, but it's obviously not an overlap. It's
Thursday?
really good. Really, really good. Like I like the music choices in it because they're really like they're not your normal surf edit. Like there's one where it's like a techno bagpipe section and stuff like that.
Oh, sick.
Um, and yeah, I was actually really surprised by the surfing in it as well. Like, and I think that like obviously they don't, but edits like this, they need to come with, or people need to understand that this is Scotland in the winter. Every one of these surfers is in a 6 mil wetsuit, hood,
Oh,
boots, and
it's
gloves.
no comparison how hard it is to surf like that compared to people in board shorts.
And I mean, one, it's testament to the wetsuits. Like, firstly, that they're taking on Scotland. Like, you don't get much colder places, and that they're able to stretch and flex and allow people to surf the way they do. So, shout out to Sim. We know they're good anyway. Like, but shout out to them for that. But also, just shout out for them to like. Obviously, they're a pretty small wetsuit company at the moment and stuff, and they've put the time, effort, and money to go out and create and edit.
Epic.
I think that's core as
That's
fuck. Like,
a. I
yeah,
think that's the actual most single important thing for a new brand to have good content that you can showcase what you're about. There's no use
yeah.
just having good product. I
But
mean, obviously, Apple, great product, but if they didn't do what they did behind it, we wouldn't know about it.
but also for me, with the way that surfers are weird and things like that, it like the two founders of the business are on that trip in that video surfing and stuff, and it just shows you that you're like if you're interested in Simple or like in their content or in their wetsuits or both, it's so core that it's like these people are putting back into like to fans and to surf fans by creating these edits and stuff. They really, obviously, yes, having great content and stuff is a really good sign, but it's also a show that there's a lot of companies out there who set up and like they're like, right, we know someone in a factory who can produce a wetsuit. We don't actually surf that much, but we can get away with using this, this, and that, right? This is a company set up by surfers for surfers, um, and they're out there creating edits really for the froth of it all. Like, and then
And
obviously,
I'm telling you, there's 6 suits. I told you, I'm going to surf it when I get back. I had them. I'm over the moon with the new Patagonia range. I'm telling you. But that simple one, which was a 3-2, and I was surfing it till I understood later because they put the three nearly all the way through the core of the body, I think, to the
yeah,
elbows and stuff like that. And I remember being in Hyundai late mid October, like swimming because I was pushing a couple of people into waves, and I just felt so warm and it was so snug. So I'll be able to use that for spring.
yeah,
Sick quality.
yeah, real good. I've been using the 6.4 like, and that's overkill. It's too much. But the reason I can use it is that it's 4 mil in the shoulders, so I'm paddling around like I'm in a 4 mil, and then my
Dude, if you're
body's just
warm, you're
cushion.
warm.
Yeah. So shout out to that. I just wanted to say like shout out to both KO and to Simple because it's pretty sick. I like both of what's happened there. So
Okay, so that wasn't what I saw. Now I wanted to see if did you see Steph Gilmore surfing Coco one of Coco sports?
yes, I
I had to
actually
look at it twice to see if it actually was Steph or Coco. No, so I thought that's Steph, and then I saw this. I'm sure DH is all right with it. I mean, Steph can do whatever she wants, and it was like
yeah. I mean
approved
she's
by
good.
Steph. And then the post before is Harry, and it's
Yeah.
got now come off the grass is what we used to say. Get off the grass. You can't get better.
No,
You can't get better social media than that. 2 posts in a row, Harry. It's a boyfriend. Nah, come
you
on.
can't pay
Well,
for it. But that's
you
because
can't pay for it. And then you got Steph on both these boards. So that'll push that brand a little bit.
and more so coming. There's an edit coming called Milk and Honey, and it's Coco, Steph, Katie Simmons, and Frankie Harrer. And they
Good
I'm
on him. Good
from
on him. All
what
power.
I've heard is they swap boards out and stuff, and I think that clip might be from there. But yeah, you can't you couldn't pay, like Harry Bryant isn't the person to be paid to endorse a board. Like he wouldn't do it. Like we kind of know that. And
Hey, if it's a woman, you do it.
no, but what I'm saying is, yeah, exactly. You couldn't, but if it wasn't that, you couldn't go up to Harry and be like, 10 grand, go surf this board and endorse it for us. He'd be like, nah. Same as Steph. Steph's got way too
I
much
don't know.
big for.
I don't know about that. I don't know if someone come up to Harry and said 10 grand serve this boy. I reckon he'd probably, fuck, that's 10 grand, mate. I'd like if someone come up to me
You
and
know what I'm
said do
saying
an
though. It's like,
international ad for Tesla and I'll give you 10 grand, I wouldn't do it.
yeah.
But if they said, look, I'll give you 10 grand to drive a Tesla around the park, I'd do it. And then hopefully run it into a tree.
Mm. But my
But
point
we'll
is
get
like
off that.
getting those endorsements without having to pay for it is fucking amazing for them as well.
That's it. It's
And
ultimate marketing. It's
the board
perfect.
looks sick. I mean, it looks like a Twinsman, which is, but yeah,
They're old time buddies, Coco and
yeah, of
Steph.
course, yeah. But right, we're gonna run out of time. Enjoy the cyclone. When you see your missus, say hello, and we'll catch up
Look,
again. We'll
I'll
try and
tell you
catch up
where, I'll
while I'm
tell
in
you
Indo.
what situation we are at the moment, mate. My sister's filled her bathtub with water in case they need it to flush the toilets if the water goes out. In my
Love
mum's
it.
joint, we've got 2 big buckets next to the 2 toilets. We filled up Tupperware containers full of water.